General Marcus Holland didn't ask for things. He commanded them. 40 years in the military had carved that certainty into every line of his weathered face, every movement of his imposing frame. Even now, lying in a hospital bed with shrapnel lodged near his spine from a training accident, his voice carried the weight of absolute authority. "I want your best surgeon," he told the hospital administrator, his eyes sharp despite the pain medication. "I don't care about cost. I don't care about waiting lists. Get me the surgeon with the best success rate for spinal injuries." "That's an order." The administrator nodded nervously, already reaching for his phone. Within 15 minutes, the arrangements were made. The general's surgery was scheduled for the following morning, and the hospital's top neurosurgeon would perform the operation personally. Dr. Emily Holland had been in surgery for 6 hours when her pager went off with the emergency code. She finished closing her current patient with the same meticulous care she brought to every procedure, scrubbed out, and headed to the administrative wing. She knew the case already: spinal trauma, military VIP, delicate extraction required. She'd performed this surgery 73 times with a 96% success rate, the highest in the region. But what the general didn't know what was about to turn this routine consultation into something that would shake them both to their core was that the hospital's best surgeon carried a name that would make him question everything he thought he knew about strength sacrifice and the cost of the choices we make. When Dr. Emily Holland walked into the general's room the next morning, wearing her surgical scrubs and carrying his chart, the man in the bed went absolutely still. All the color drained from his face, his mouth opened, closed, opened again. For perhaps the first time in 4 decades, General Marcus Holland was speechless. "Emmy," the word came out as barely a whisper. Dr. Holland stopped in the doorway, her professional mask slipping for just a moment, revealing something raw and complicated beneath. "Hello, Dad." The silence that followed was deafening. A nurse checking vitals glanced between them, sensing the tension but not understanding it. The general's aide, standing by the window, shifted uncomfortably. Finally, the general found his voice. "You're the surgeon. You're the best they have." There was disbelief in his tone, and something else, something that made Dr. Holland's jaw tighten. "Yes," she said simply. "I specialize in complex spinal trauma. I've been the department head here for 3 years. My success rate speaks for itself." The general stared at his daughter as if seeing a stranger. "But you were supposed to be at West Point. You had the appointment. I pulled strings. You were going to follow in my footsteps, continue the Holland military legacy." Dr. Holland stepped further into the room, her posture straight, her voice calm but unyielding. "No, Dad, you wanted me to follow in your footsteps. I wanted to save lives, not take them. I wanted to heal, not command. So I went to medical school instead." Now here's where everything you think you know about this story shifts. Think about a moment when you chose your own path over someone else's expectations. When you disappointed someone you loved to honor who you really were. Drop your answer in the comments, because what happened next between this father and daughter will remind you why those choices, as painful as they are, define who we become. You gave up a military career for this. The general's voice was hard, but there was a tremor beneath it now. "Do you have any idea what you threw away? The opportunities, the honor?" Dr. Holland set the chart down on the table beside his bed with deliberate care. "I threw away your dream, Dad, not mine, and I built something better. I've saved hundreds of lives. I've given people their mobility back, their futures back. I've done more good in 10 years of surgery than I ever could have done in a uniform." The general's hands gripped the bedsheets. "You didn't even tell me. You disappeared, changed your number. I thought I'd lost you. There it was. Beneath the anger and the disappointment, the real wound." Dr. Holland's expression softened, just slightly. "You did lose me, Dad. You lost me the day you told me that healing people wasn't honorable enough, that saving lives as a doctor was somehow less valuable than military service. You lost me when you said I was disappointing you by choosing medicine." She paused, her voice dropping. "But I found myself, and I became exactly who I was meant to be." The general looked away, blinking rapidly. When he spoke again, his voice was rough. "Can you still do the surgery? Even after everything?" Dr. Holland stepped closer to the bed. "Dad, I took an oath to do no harm. To heal to the best of my ability. That oath doesn't have exceptions for complicated family relationships. Yes, I can do your surgery. The question is, do you trust me to?" She let that hang in the air between them. "Because you're going to have to. I'm the best chance you have to walk again." The general met his daughter's eyes. really looked at her, perhaps for the first time in years. He saw the confidence there, the competence, the absolute certainty of someone who knew exactly how good they were at their job. He saw the same determination he'd tried to forge in her, just aimed in a different direction. "How long have you been the best?" he asked quietly. "Since my second year of residency," she answered honestly. "I was always the best, Dad. You just wanted me to be the best at something different." Something broke in the general's face. Not his strength, but something harder and more brittle, his pride. "I was wrong," he said, and the words seemed to cost him everything. "I was wrong about you, about what matters, about what honor really means." A tear slid down his weathered cheek. "Emmy, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." Dr. Holland's own eyes glistened, but her voice remained steady. "We'll talk about that after I save your ability to walk. Right now, I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" The general nodded, unable to speak. Dr. Holland touched his shoulder briefly, professionally, but there was warmth in it. "I'll see you in the OR. Try to rest." The surgery took 9 hours. Dr. Emily Holland removed every piece of shrapnel with a precision that bordered on artistry, repaired the damaged nerve tissue, stabilized the spine. Her hands never shook, her focus never wavered. This was what she was born to do. When the general woke up in recovery, the first thing he felt was his toes moving. The second thing he saw was his daughter, still in her surgical cap, exhausted but smiling. "You're going to make a full recovery," she told him. 6 months of physical therapy, but you'll walk again. You'll even be able to golf if you want. The general reached for her hand, gripping it with a strength that surprised them both. "Thank you," he whispered. "Not just for the surgery. For being brave enough to disappoint me. For being strong enough to become who you are." Over the months of recovery that followed, the general visited his daughter's hospital often. He watched her work, saw the lives she changed, the gratitude in her patients' eyes. He started volunteering with a veterans program she ran, helping injured soldiers transition to civilian life. He learned, slowly, to express the pride he'd always felt, but never knew how to show. And one day, at a hospital fundraiser, he stood up and told a room full of donors about his daughter, the finest surgeon he'd ever known, who'd taught him that there are many ways to serve many forms of courage, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose your own path, even when it disappoints the people you love most. This story is for everyone who's ever chosen their own dream over someone else's expectations. For everyone who's been told their passion wasn't good enough, wasn't honorable enough, wasn't enough. You are enough. Your path is valid. Your choices matter. If this story spoke to you, share it with someone who needs permission to follow their own calling. And if you've ever had to choose between making someone proud and making yourself whole, tell us about it in the comments. Because the world needs to hear about the courage it takes to become yourself, especially when the people you love most wanted you to be someone else. Sometimes the greatest gift we can give the people who raised us is showing them that we heard their lessons about strength and honor. We just applied them in our own way.